welcome to Lens Relay. I am your host Anushree Chatterjee, and today I'm back with the review of the film Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So this film is the 7th movie in the 27-year-long Mission Impossible film franchise. The release of this film was delayed by a few years because of the pandemic, but now that the film is finally here in the year 2023, the audience's expectations have been almost exceedingly met. To dive further into this film, we have to talk about our beloved Tom Cruise and his performance in this film. Of course, he has outdone himself, given that the age that he has, but he has literally pushed his limits of stamina and adventures and the stunts that he has done all by himself. This mission comprises of a lot of leaps, stunts, and a lot of adventures throughout different countries, and Agent Ethan Hunt accepts to choose them all. Coming to the best stunt part, of course, Mission Impossible series is all about the impossible stunts. For example, the most amazing one, which I found my most favorite, is where he simply just sails off at the edge of a cliff on a motorbike and tries to land on top of a train using a parachute and tries to save her accomplice from a bunch of antagonist spy agents. So even when I'm describing it, it sounds very, very impossible. But he has really accomplished it with sheer perfection. Also, the stunt scenes have to be accredited to the very talented director Christopher McQuarrie, because he has crafted them in a way that they seem to be completely impossible, but not really, at least not for Tom Cruise. The antagonist this time is not one person or a group of people. So it's a very faceless, nameless entity which knows all, is able to learn everything, and is able to control, in fact, every person on Earth. It is something linked to the technological aspects of the current world. Well, I think if you guess, you can pretty much easily understand that we're talking about AI. So AI is the villain in this scenario. It's actually shown in a very vague manner, because since it's the part 1, so they've not explored too much about what this nameless entity is. But it is clearly shown that if this nameless entity is not controlled or destroyed, it will lead to a lot of global wars. So the entire film is basically aimed towards stopping this particular nameless entity, which is lost somewhere in some very unnamed corner of the world. And the entire fight is about whether the greater good for humanity is destroying this entity or taking control of this entity. One of the more interesting aspects of this film is the chemistry between Tom Cruise and the newly added character of Grace, which is played by Hayley Atwell. Their chemistry is shown to be somewhat of cat and dog sort of chasing sequence in the beginning, but then eventually the scenes show themselves in a way that through the character of Grace, a lot of psycho-emotional aspects of all of the characters come out. Not just Tom Cruise, but even the side characters, his team, which is helping him. Also, we have to give credit to the amazing femme fatale and the female villain, the character of which is called as Paris. And she actually divulges in a lot of really high intensity and competitive battles, fighting scenes with Tom Cruise. And it actually is very refreshing to see someone from a female standpoint who is so strong when it comes to the kind of stamina that Tom Cruise is displaying in the film. And she is pretty much a very level competitor in that case. Her acting is also something which needs to be commended on the negative role, because eventually we also see a character transformation towards the end, which I'm not going to divulge more into. That is something that you can explore by yourself. There's also enough humor in this film to not let the whole thing become way too stressful and way too serious. Which is pretty much similar to the prequels that we've seen in the Mission Impossible movies. Also, for the next sequel, which is the Dead Reckoning Part 2, we are expecting that we will explore a little bit more about the entity that we're talking about, which is basically the central villain, the antagonist, which is not a human sentient being, but it is ultimately a piece of code which is supposed to rule the world. So I think it is going to be a really good ending to it, given that part 1 has totally exceeded the expectations of the audience. It is very important to highlight that Mission Impossible series is has established itself as a classic since 1996. And when you have a legacy such as this one, it is very hard to live up to the expectations that people have, that too after 27 years. So, like, my big kudos to Tom Cruise and the entire team of Mission Impossible, who have managed to really live up to those expectations and deliver something which we totally enjoyed and would love to look forward to in the next part as well. If you find this review helpful, then please hit the like button and definitely subscribe to the channel, because I will be back with a lot more interesting content. And I guess I will see you again very soon. Thank you.